stoked to be here.
Yeah.
Filming in our brand new sexy space.
Yeah, we just
Let's
got
go.
all this stuff together and it arrived.
Yeah.
It was faster than I thought, I'll be honest.
Yeah, we put it together pretty quick.
Yeah, that was like ship shape. We had the idea.
Jelly is awesome.
Yes, John.
Yeah.
He is what's his business?
He's a contractor. It's
Contractor.
Poetry in Motion.
Poetry in Motion.
Shout out to Poetry in Motion, who helped build our podcast studio to help it become like the sexy fucking awesomeness that it is right now. And
we had a picture and a concept
and he enacted it
and
for us.
it's just in and it's lovely.
It's right where
So
we wanted to be.
it's like everything we put together was like, and now it's here.
So-
Talk about manifesting.
So now we're here, and podcast's beginning. So today we wanted to chat about just kind of like a brief little opener into. We're gonna call the podcast "Be," to just be, to be patient, to be kind, to be awesome, to be adventurous, to be wild. All of the things. Be creative.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
Did we say that?
Yeah, but this is all of the B's. And so then we can like do that for other people, and we're bringing people on. We're gonna have them talk about their B. Why? How do they find joy? How do they find their flow state? What are they really good at being?
Yeah.
And
Of being active.
yeah,
What kind of
because we love
Water.
human beings. We do.
Yeah, it's a space for being. Like, what are you continually doing and improving upon, and also like hopefully add some value to like what we've learned in the biohacking space.
Yeah.
As well as like a couple who biohacks.
And the one thing we want to talk about today
And
was
all the things we do that become who we are, right?
Yeah.
That's the B.
Yeah.
We just kind of become it.
I feel like the foundational principle of being able to just be is paradigm.
Okay.
That's like
so what are you
the
talking
foundational structure of being is your lenses that you're viewing and seeing the world by. And it took us a long time to kind of figure out our lenses as to how we viewed each other in our relationship, our interactions with all that. At least it did for me. Maybe you picked it up faster than I did, but it took a minute to kind of just see that, like when something would happen, we weren't victim to that circumstance. In reality, it was the reality that was going into it, and we could interpret it one way or another, good, bad, what have you. And we have that capacity to control the paradigm of lenses as to what it is. So even the worst possible thing that could happen to you in your life, there's gonna be something good that comes out of that.
Yes.
It's not 100% always entirely negative, so you're not victim to it. You can take out, what am I learning from this? What am I gaining from this?
In the worst moments.
In the worst moments.
And
Even
so much of the drudgery.
yes. Like, how do you find the gratitude in those darkest moments?
Yeah, that we all experience in life. That's just life happening.
Yeah.
Whether you have had something now or whether you're going through something
You feel it building
later
up,
in life
on the
or
inside
haven't
of
had
you.
an experience. It's not a if, it's a when. People have when experiences.
Yeah.
You know, these life-changing, life-altering things that no one plans on.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you like work through that? You know, like I think that's where the depth comes in.
I think that's one thing that has been really good for us, that we've been able to find those silver linings.
Yeah.
And in my new book, coming soon,
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, that is going, it's Winning at the Wrong Game. So it's talking about how men in particular, entrepreneurial men who are success and motivation driven, and they spend so much time in procurement that they lose some of the capacity to be present. Procurement over being present is not the greatest of things, and we lose some of the connection with like humanity, because that's what society rewards, right? They reward being stoic and non-emotional and not being connected and feeling, and that was like it's sold as a feature, and yet it's kind of like the bug in the system, because like the more you connect and feel and find the gratitude and the love and the emotion of all the other things, the more you're going to be able to interact with others.
Yes,
yourself.
I think this is really interesting because even like watching The Reckoning, the Netflix series, like with about P. Diddy and stuff, one of the ladies on there was like, well, she's so emotional, like discredited her. And I was just like, well, that's actually where the stuff is. Like, instead of hiding from it, because as a society, so that's an example from what you're talking about, is that we're told to, like, if you have confidence and you're in a state of believability, you have to just shove it all in, right? Or like suppress it or don't show any of it. Like, that's more believable to some people as a society, but the reality is it's not reality. Like, it's not what's actually going on. The emotional states, the different things that come out is actually where the changes happen. It's actually really important.
You gotta
So you
feel it
feel
to heal it. You gotta feel
You
it to
have to
heal
let
it.
it come out, right? You gotta be able to feel it. I
That
love
doesn't
that.
mean that you let it go full, like,
Tops,
you know,
like,
it's not,
180,
it's not
right?
Mad Max that, like, emotions are running everything.
Exactly.
Like,
This
you need
is
your
not
handle
about.
on the wheel
Yes.
and to be able to do it, but, like, having, like, such a white knuckle grip that there's no variability for emotions to be able to connect with you, that's where the problem was. That's where I lied. I lied in the cyborg trap.
Mm.
And I felt everything here logically, that emotions were in my brain, not in my chest, not in my heart.
Mm.
And so, and be like, I love you, I have empathy for you, I feel sad for you, I feel upset at you. It was all here.
But it was like a thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it connected here. So, like, I tried to logic and argue it and debate it as opposed to feel it. And so that's what finding a way to get the paradigm that, like, life is happening by me, for me, and ultimately through me, that everything is for my good. All experiences, whether we coin them as good or bad, they are for my benefit.
And what do you mean for your good in that way? That it's helping you?
It's a lesson. All of it is a lesson. And I can take it that way. I can spin it that way. So if I'm walking down the road and I break my leg, what is the lesson in this? How can I gain from this? How can I prosper from this disaster, from this mishap, as opposed to, like, I'm such a victim, that happened, and I'm just stuck. It kills you emotionally, but being able to find the gratitude and the processes that come out of those things.
So how do you, like, then change from that victim state? So let's say you do have, like, something where it's like, yeah, you actually, like, got your arm cut off or something. Like, there actually is a physical.
I'm not saying that there's
something that
never
happens.
challenges. There's definitely challenges that occur. But say you got your arm chopped off. I have a friend who had his arm ripped off by a farming accident.
Right, he's got no arm anymore.
Right. And
Yeah.
then yet he was awarded a large financial sum from the company, which made him able to live a life abroad and about without having to work, because he had settlement money that was coming into him as a byproduct of losing his arm in a farming accident.
Yeah.
And then he was able to find the love of his life as a byproduct of that. They get to travel around and they live a rich, full life as a direct result of the worst trauma that ever happened to him. So if you only looked at the trauma, it's so bad that I lost my arm, and you focus on that, what is that going to negate, and what is that going to create in your body? It's going to create the same kind of endocrine functions and emotional feeling states of the trauma. The trauma happened. Oh, it happened to me. I'm such a suppressive. It's all this stuff. That's physically going to create an endocrine stew.
And what do you
of
mean
trauma.
by endocrine stew? Like
Neurotransmitters. So take this for example, like your body, based off of what you think, generates commands to create neurochemistry that then mixes your physical and feelings of emotions in the system itself. So, like, if you're sitting there at your door and all of a sudden someone knocks on your door and Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse, shows up with a huge check and he's like, I got $10 million for you. Adina, what are you gonna do? How do you feel?
Amazing. Probably excited. Probably like, what the heck just happened to me?
Yeah. How are you acting?
I'm like elated. I'm probably like, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna.
Thinking all things you're gonna buy, things you're gonna do. What are you doing with your body?
Probably jumping.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
like
there's
so
energy.
excited.
You're bouncing. You're
Yeah,
jumping up
like,
and down.
woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, you're cheering, your body's moving, everything's there.
Like,
Okay,
what?
then there's a phone call.
Yeah.
You go and grab the phone call, and then on the other line, it's a doctor. And he's like, I'm sorry, Dina. I hate to tell you, but your entire family was just in a car accident and nobody survived. How do you feel?
Just like, it would just be like shock. Well, I would know I'm in shock, but like, I don't know what that would feel like.
Yeah. Tears,
Everything.
just suppression, the shoulders drop,
Just
there's
the
the
grief.
physical emotions, the weight
The
becomes
loss.
heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing
Just
physically,
loss that you know you're not going to see them again.
nothing physically happened to you, right?
No.
Yet your thoughts generated all of these ranges of emotions that quickly. So this is to show like an example that like thought generates a neurochemical endocrine soup that manifests itself physically into your body. So our thoughts physically create our situations, our emotions, our feelings. So what you focus on is what you actually encode into your bodies. So you take it from this aspect, there's a lot of people think that we are God-given, universal, like whatever, that we have the capacity of generating it. If we are God-given, we have,
What do you mean by God given? Like
God
created?
created all those things.
Okay.
Like we have the capacity of being like gods of ourselves. If we are manifesting that, like say, I'm giving a command, like I am happy, then the body's gonna respond as it was like a command, and it's gonna make your body happy. Well, I am sad, your body's gonna manifest it as a command and make the body that way.
Right.
I'm anxious, it's gonna make you that way. And then it's a rut, just like a wagon on an old dirt road. It makes tracks and trails, and it makes hard to get those wheels out of it because you've done it over and over and over, because the body loves to do what it's always done.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna rut something together, let's rut gratitude, love, empathy, fucking awesome things. So then you can live in that state of amazing, because it's just a paradigm, the lens on which you view and look at the world.
Right. And that starts with the mind. And then the tie back to the endocrine system.
Is you can control your endocrine system, the neurochemistry, off your thoughts, right?
Right. And then what, remind me again, what does the endocrine system
That's all the
function?
chemicals, that's all of your neurochemistry.
Oh, interesting. Is the endocrine system in the body that communicates. So it's a communication center.
It's all hormones.
And hormones. That's what I thought. It had to deal
Hormones,
with
all the
hormones.
chemical applications, everything.
So when you're getting like, let's say like hormonal imbalances, how's that? Is that physiology then disrupting your thought patterns, or is it your thoughts? Which one is winning here? Like which one is the
So it's kind of a chicken or an egg situation.
Yeah. Like
So
how do you
if you're
decipher
sitting there
that?
for years and years and years of like, my life sucks, I hate my partner, I hate my job, I hate all this stuff, and you're in suppression all this time, physically it's going to do this to you over time, which is going to train your body to be physically in that state, which will manifest into disease. Dis-ease. It's like distress, dis-ease. Ease is a gentle state, right? That's easy. Dis is not, so it's not easy. It's in a dis-ease state. That's a disease, right? So like having your hormones dysregulated and unbalanced is a diseased state. And it can very well manifest of like years of compounding that like I'm constantly at stress. It's a problem. Everything's a problem. You're manifesting it. You're
Right.
creating it.
And then what about the blood work and the panels and different things like that?
And you can show blood work panels. You can show that like inflammation is going to spike. You're probably going to be going to insulin resistance, because then you're going to eat your feelings, and your blood sugars are going to spike. Your cortisol will increase until the point where it finally collapses, and you have cortisol imbalance. A lot of things. Your thyroid starts to get jacked up, and if you have hypothyroidism, all those things. But there is a very big thought, emotional, physical connector to that. Like, can you just think that like, oh, I want to raise my thyroid? No, that's not how that's gonna like totally work. You can't just do that. I want to raise my testosterone. Think about it. I'm gonna be happy.
Right,
No.
like how is the neuroscience going, or the
But
physiology
the
going?
other way of like thinking and then eroding it over time, that is very real.
So our thoughts and mindset are having
They're partners.
basically a relationship
Yeah,
with
it's
our
like hand in hand.
organs,
Yes,
right?
100%.
Yeah, and which makes sense because we tell our arm to move, right?
Right.
Lift my arm.
Yeah.
Right? So
But who moved your arm?
your thought did, right? You're like, I need to pick that up.
Yeah. So
I need
like
to pick it up.
you
I want to pick this up.
as the entity, the
Right.
beautiful, imaginative, and perfect you, gave an impulse into your mind, which is independent of you, which your then mind gave an impulse to your body. 3 separate individual things, right? There's you, there's your mind, there's your body. So you gave a command to your mind gave the command to your body enacted the command. They're separate things though, because your mind can pop things into you that you never thought.
Right.
You're just like, oh, that was weird, that was
Just like
random. That was just the mind just dumping things into it, but it's separate from you. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It was just the mind happened to create that. Yeah, so I think there's a big distinction between you, mind, and body.
And in those distinctions,
Because when you die, that's your body.
yeah, it's just
like,
it's
just
elements. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bone, it's flesh.
Yeah.
That's it.
But then there's a mind. Like I can hold a brain. I've dissected many humans.
I know. I think
and
you
held
said
brains.
at school you like cut open the cadaver.
Ah, it's so funny because they
I
didn't
was
give me
like,
any
"Oh."
training. And we had a
Don't
new
tell
cadaver
me
come
about
in,
that.
and I like had to like bone saw the brain
And
open,
you, like,
and there was
sawed it
nobody there,
open.
and they're just like, just go ahead and do it. And like it's the dura mater, which is the wrapping of the brain, kind of like a case that holds it all together to hold the cerebral
This
spinal
is
fluid. and stuff.
disgusting to
I had
me.
to like slice it open, and it's pretty hard. And I'm like trying to tug it out, and there's 12
You're just pulling on a
intracranial
brain
nerves, and I'm like literally pulling it out, and I fucked up
Like
a whole
it's
bunch of
normal.
them as it came out.
like it's normal.
And I got the brain out, and I was all happy and proud of myself because brain is like the consistency of like almost
What does it
room
feel
temperature
like?
butter. Like it's
Oh, really?
pretty soft.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Jello.
Ew.
And so like, you could go like that, and you
Ew.
could mash, and you could like create destruction of the neural tissue just by like that much pressure, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
I got it out and I pulled it out, but I broke some of the cranial nerves. And then the next day in lecture, our neurologist was like, "Yeah, we got a new cadaver in, and then some of the lab assistants fucked up the cranial nerves." And I was like, "That was me. I did that. Nobody was there to teach me or train me. It was my first time. I totally did." And he's like, "We'll make cross sections. It's fine, but I was hoping to have like a good representation of the cranial nerves to show in like the pin stuff." And I was like, "Well, you should have had someone there to at least then help with the process," because I was totally left like, "Okay, do this extraction."
Oh, no one was there to assist
No.
you in the anatomy lab?
Nobody was there.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there rocking a bone saw.
But you
Taking
gotta
the
feel
skull
it.
off. Oh yeah. I mean, I've held tons of brains, but like extracting that first one was wild.
That's crazy. And it feels like butter.
Yeah, it's a little bit thicker than room temperature butter. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere in like my world that I'm like, and I touched your brain today and it was cool and it was awesome. I'd be like, no, thank
Pretty
you.
wild.
But so that's the physical matter. That,
Which we control.
yes,
Off of
and
thought
we
impulses.
are part. So you have your
So the
brain,
thought impulse.
you have your physical,
Yeah.
you have your mind,
Yeah.
and your body. So your
No, then
body,
you have you.
mind, and then you. So what is your you that you're talking about?
That's your ness.
That's your spirit.
That's your
That's what I
spirit,
would
your
call
soul.
spirit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the unique characteristic of perfection that is ultimately you. There's only ever been one ever. Adina, that is exactly you in the history of trillions of people who have graced this planet.
Or would you venture to say a soul?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is your soul. So
Yeah.
you've got your body, mind, and your soul.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But that's you. That is who you are. Because like when I think of me, like me is not my brain, me is not my body. It's all one unit, but they're uniquely and distinctly separate items and individuals, right?
Right.
Because my brain's gonna prompt things, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird thought. I didn't think that. My brain just generated some stuff, right?
So there's sometimes just thoughts that just kind of like,
Yeah, they just pop in. It's like a puppet
Puppet.
show, and someone
Yeah.
pops out on the stage, and we have the hook to pull them off the stage and be like, "Whoa, who let Jason on the floor?" Gosh, that guy.
So what about the mind that like brought you like into like what's so interesting about the mind and the brain? Or is it different from the brain, the mind, and then the spiritual component too?
So the brain is the physical medium of processing. It's the computer hardware,
Yeah.
but it's not the mind.
Okay.
The mind is the thought processes, the encoding, your paradigms, all of that kind of stuff inside that. That's the mind.
Okay.
Yeah, perceptions, all that stuff packed into it and putting it. That's the mind. So there's the mind. There's the physical body, which the brain would be part of the physical body, and then there's us, like our separate individual entity, like our ness, our soul. But that's perfect. Like there's only one ever. Like it's completely full and perfect. And people are like, well, how am I perfect? I get that all the time. How am I perfect? What do you mean? I'm not perfect. I don't do things right all the time. It's like, yeah, well, you are perfect because you were meant to be exactly this. Completely. That doesn't mean that there's not room for advancement. Perfection doesn't mean complete. Perfection just means you can be perfect and have like incomplete edges, and then you want to progress. Like progress is something someone who loves themselves gives themselves.
That's pretty deep right there.
Yeah.
Like that's interesting because there's drive, obviously. There's ambition, and people are like, why would you have drive? Like what wakes you up in the morning? Like what gives you purpose, right?
Yeah, depending on the paradigm you overlay on top of your life.
Okay.
You have the hard, rigid frames, and the paradigm is the view. It's the lenses of the glasses you put over your eyes. So like my lenses for you would be blurry. Your lenses for me would be blurry.
Right. It's
Because
like
we
the
have
Coke bottle eyeglasses
because we have
that we put on.
Hey, don't make fun of my eyes.
Or they could be really thin.
Because we have different demands that are physically in our lens and retina, right? To get the right angle of light coming in to interpret into our optic nerve to send to our brain to see what is out there. That's the same thing in our reality. Your experience is your lived experience, your past, your traumas, your memories, your interpretation of those memories, the paradigm you've extracted off of your lived experience can be very well soaked and shifted into a negative fashion or a positive fashion. Look at Tony Robbins, heavily abused. His mother was quite an unsavory individual, pouring comet and things like that down his throat and physically assaulting him, and yet he used that as fuel to create him into this magnanimous person who helps others find the energetic capacity of their soul to expand. He never would have been able to do that if he didn't metabolize the trauma for good. Everyone's going to have trauma, everyone's going to have stuff. It's about getting back to zero and then using it for good. You get to neutral.
Yeah. And so this is why the focus of the brain intrigued you?
Yeah. Because like we are ultimately, because this is like God's workshop, essentially.
Yeah.
Like if we have divinity within us, we are manufacturing our own environment, our own like life, physically, mentally, emotionally, out of the tools that we've been given us divinely.
Right.
Whether that's the universe, God, however you like utilize that, but it's ultimately powerful, and we can shape it in ways that we want. And if you shape it in ways that are not necessarily happy or good, like you can get tortured by it too, because you can manufacture and create a cage that keeps you entrenched of your own design, which you see often, and it's super sad. Because people are locked into the paradigm of control that they manufactured and then locked themselves away in. What we want to do is help people to find a way to connect back to their center, to be happy, to be grateful, to be empathic, to be kind, to be awesome. Because we have the capacity to do that. It's just how do you do that?
Yeah.
And what are the tips and tricks? And that's what we're going to want to talk about. Like, how do people find their way to be awesome? How do they find their way to be kind? How do they find their way to be still, to be peaceful, to be present, when things don't necessarily line up for them ideally.
Yeah, in the rough parts.
Yeah, that's kind of the purpose.
And still like continue to maybe develop or just to adapt to it, right? Yeah. And so, and I think this is really interesting with the the neuroscience of things, that a lot of people don't really understand, like the difference between like PTSD, mental illness diagnosis, and then also I think epigenetics and what the neuroscience space is doing now, because like there's more information that is being gleaned, but we still have a system in our society that treats people who think differently, who are maybe neurodivergent, or even suffering with a lot of depression, PTSD, schizophrenia, bipolar, anything like that, depression, as like, well, that's mental illness, they can't help themselves with.
Definitely a stigma.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, they can't help themselves, but
and that's a manufactured cage that they hand to you.
Could they? That's where I'm like feeling like there's a little push, and this may not hit with everyone. People may get offended about that.
Yeah.
Because they like, we like the structure of what
like the devil that we know.
The system is giving us right now.
Yeah.
But there's a
because
lot
it's safe because
on
you're
the
familiar
neuroscience
with it.
and the forefront of health that pushes this boundary a little bit, that I think people feel like if you push it, you're not compassionate or empathic, because you're saying, hey, there's another way now, and you don't have to be in this box anymore, right? And so that's disruptive in a system that we like, putting people in boxes and saying, this is for these people.
This is you. We love labels.
And it's okay as long as you're in this realm. You're okay if you're safe here, and we love and accept you either way, which is, I think the acceptance of neurodivergence is amazing right now. I think people really are tuning into that your unique characteristics are needed. It's not a weakness. It's actually like a gift. And that narrative is really strong and it's super powerful. But then we have the system of, well, these people are over
When I have
here.
my columns is where it says you can't.
Yeah.
You're
So how do
neurodivergent,
we?
so you can't.
And then with
You're
and then
autistic,
here,
so you can't. You have ADHD, so you can't. I hate those labels.
and yes, and I think this is really interesting because we've got a whole group of society that is identifying and have these chemical imbalances or different things, but then we also have this biohacking avenue that's like, whoa, things are changing. Like science and technology, and even with stem cells and regenerative health, are changing what we knew to be sound practice or institutionalized practice and care and management into something new. And that, I think that jump is scary for a lot of people. I think it's scary, and I think they're not sure what to do with it as science rolls forward with technology. And that's kind of where we kind of founded everything off of. It was like, let's go back to like the cells. Let's go back to what we're all made of.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if we can,
Foundational
instead of
principles.
like riffing off what is what and what's best, it was more like,
Well, we've siloed ourselves
Hey,
in a
we're
healthcare
elemental.
institution so single filed
yeah,
that we know so much about one tiny thing that we forgot that it is all connected
right.
at the cost of the patient, the
Mm.
expense of our outcomes and results. Oh, I can fix your foot because I'm a podiatrist and I can see that this bone is not moving this way, so I'm going to cast it into this position. But what I didn't think is that's going to fuck your back up, because I don't do backs. I don't know anything about that.
But they know they can fix this one area.
And
of
with
your
the
body.
one thing, so
But
we're
they
siloed into
forget
they
to
forget that it's
see
all connected.
This whole
yeah,
body
the
and
functional
this
capacity
whole
of the
human,
whole.
right?
Right.
A
All of it's
human
connected.
with its lived experiences, history, genetics, input, lived life has this intelligence right in front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and down to now narrowed down to just one aspect of you.
Right.
or now I think health and wellness is shifting into like they're trying to see the full body, which is really interesting because it kind of full circles back to Eastern medicine, right? Now it goes back to traditional medicine that has been practiced in ancient cultures for a long time.
They know some stuff.
Right. There's like Western medicine came and it was like, you don't know shit, you know? Like that is awful, you know, or
just
whatever it is.
because we're not intelligent enough to quantify it in an objective,
So we just
measurable
decided
outcome.
it was not even valid,
Correct.
right?
It
Like
doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
thousands of years of history and experience probably put into folklore, so it seemed like folklore because there was no way to document things, right? And then it just like Western medicine with technology, because the Industrial Revolution was really massive for mechanics, automobiles, planes, trains, planes, and automobiles, right? Like all those things came in and was like shifting the world, right? It really turned things on to now we can like see things, but it did some good things, right? It did some really good things. Also did some really not so good things. So we kind of forgot about all this lived experience from our ancestors.
It's kind of just like the nature of the universe. Like Newton kind of had it right, equal and opposite reactions, right? You have like an impact that's going to go this way, and there's going to be a negative, like expansion, equal and opposite. So something that's hugely expansive, imagine that there's going to be some resistance on the opposite end of that.
Right. I think that's what we're seeing with this post-COVID world is like, it all of a sudden hit where it's like, oh my goodness, we need to start like preventative care. Like we need to take care of our bodies instead of just waiting for
It made people
a doctor
acutely
to
aware
take care of everything.
that they need to be in charge and the CEO of their own life.
Right.
And health, and not just leave it up to the physicians, because maybe the physician doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
There's some of them out
Isn't
there.
that ironic?
Yeah.
As a physician saying that, how does that feel?
That's very accurate. Like, meaning that, like, literally up to date, just like there was about 30 minutes, like, of education on nutrition. He's talked about that on the CEO, the podcast of the CEO, Stephen.
Oh, the Diary of a CEO?
Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
He had on a podcast someone who is a Harvard-trained medical doctor, and she's like, yeah, you talk about stuff for like longevity and stuff, nutrition, dietetics. She's like, I had 30 minutes of training. 30 minutes
That's
of
crazy.
training on diet and nutrition. That is
Over 4 years of school. Or
Yeah.
whatever school
Yeah.
she got.
They're trained on
That's just basic
they're
med
trained
school,
on
not specialization.
pharmacokinetics. Like what we're good at in the medical field is interventional situations. So if I have a stroke, if I get run over by a bus, I'm going to want to do it in one of two countries in the world. I'm going to want it in the US or Israel because they have the best interventional medicine. Like they can pick me up off the floor, put me onto a gurney and take me to the hospital and patch me and put me back together with surgery and everything better than anywhere else. But the second that surgery's over, I want to get the fuck out of the hospital, because when it comes to measures of longevity
And preventative care. And maintenance.
we statistically in the United States are the worst. Out of 76 industrialized countries,
Was that
we
still true? 'Cause
still
we were
We
talking about this
spend-
10 years ago.
I know, and it's
and
still
I
accurate.
wonder, I haven't looked at the stats yet.
It's still accurate. We
Yeah.
are the worst. We spend more than any other country, and we have more doctors per capita than any other country. We consume upwards of like 60% of the pharmaceuticals in the world, and yet we're only 4% of the world. More meds, sicker than ever. Huh.
Yeah,
Maybe
huge
there's a
gap.
correlation here. You know, maybe a causation, definitely correlative. Maybe we're missing something. And I think that's when it goes down to those foundational points that we need to go deeper. We need to get to the system, the root of the problems, not just the mask of the problems.
Yeah.
Like if there's a fire alarm going off and I'm like, oh my God, that is annoying. And I just go and clip the wires to the fire alarm. That's so much better. The fire's still burning. Like that's essentially what pharmacokinetics, pharmacology, drugs will do to you. is it interacts the symptoms, covers them up, but it didn't change the actual problem. Getting under the root of why there is a problem is how you change that. Diet, nutrition, sleep, hydration, let your body go through the natural physical components of physiology. That's helpful. That's how you get to make the shift to change.
Yeah.
Drugs can't create that.
Right. And
they can do one of two things.
And which is?
Force the body to produce something that it already produces, or stop the body to produce something that it already produces.
Right, and from my limited understanding with nutrition and how the body works, it's like you put a synthetic in a body and we're biologically based, so it doesn't really know it's like a foreign object in your body, right? It's just like plastic in it. It doesn't really know what to do. The cells don't know what to do.
Some of them are petrol based.
Right,
like
so depending on like what element and chemical compound they are, it will absorb or it won't, right? So like we're also like introducing pharmaceuticals that are like, they've got things in them that our body just doesn't really know what to do with.
They can agitate or excite or
Yeah.
suppress receptor sites and different pathways into our body. And not that all like pharmaceuticals are inherently like negative and bad, but there's definitely a lot of side effects and consequences that go along with it.
The thing we talk about quite a bit is like for emergency care, like if I'm getting shot, I'm so grateful I'm in the US.
Yes.
Because our emergency care is really top notch.
But if we want to talk about metabolic disease and disorders, get the hell away from any American doctor.
Yeah, it's not.
Run like he has an axe in
really
his hand,
hard
because
to
essentially
find.
he does.
Yeah, there.
Gabapentin, Lyrica, like all that kind of stuff isn't going to fix you. You need to stop shoving McDonald's in your face.
As we all partake of McDonald's every now and then.
I don't know if all of us do.
But it is like part of Western culture, and not only Western now. I think as I've been to more countries, it's kind of everywhere too, in a way, as like seeing it as the ideal, you know. But it's not necessarily, because it affects our mind.
Was the number one thing that people can integrate and create in their own space that can change their world?
Yeah.
I think it's gratitude. Vitamin G, baby. Vitamin G is the ultimate corrective fix for just about every goddamn thing in the world.
Okay.
So this thing happened to me. Okay. What's the gratitude in that? Maybe you find that maybe it was an atrocious thing, a horrible trauma. What positivity and good things came out of that? What lesson was learned that created an aspect of growth and development on top of that? Find the gratitude for what it is, because that reality isn't going to change. I don't have Doc Brown and the DeLorean to go back to the future to go back and change the situation. That is real. That happened, and there's nothing that me lamenting over the past and going back and revisiting how bad it was, because I can go back to traumas that I had as a kid, and guess what would happen? If I think about it, I can re-traumatize myself in the future. I can have current endocrine reactions that generate anxiety, stress, sorrow of stuff that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. That happened so long ago, and yet if I go back and revisit that in my mind, in my memory, I can create a physical new trauma today. I'm not traveling in time to go back there. I initiated a new physical sensation and feeling of trauma now.
By rehashing it. And so this is why like talk therapy and stuff like that is largely ineffective. For trauma.
Because they're trying to top-down approach. Let's go think about it and let's re-traumatize it. We're looping it. The body loves to do what it's always done, and it's an exercise regimen. What are you strengthening by going back and initiating those traumatizations? You're strengthening the trauma bond. You're strengthening the shit that you don't want, as opposed to what is the outcome you do want. Let's strengthen joy, happiness, gratitude, the outcome that you desire. Let's live in that. But that's foreign to people. People don't practice being happy. People don't practice and spend time in joy. They don't practice living in gratitude. And this is the hack, if there was only one hack to live, is live in joy, live in gratitude, be gracious of every single thing that happened. If our building burned down right now, if our house burned down, if I lost everything, my business, what is the gratitude and the joy in that? What I can find, my baseline is like, I have you, I have our kids. There's nothing in this world that could happen that could rob me of the beautiful moments and the inspirational joy and love that I get from you guys. There's nothing that could happen if we lost a kid. It would be devastating. I'd be so horrible. But they can never take away those memories and those beautiful moments that I had. Same thing with you. You had a car accident and I lost you. It'd be fucking awful. We're never going to be able to rob the emotional journey and structure that we were able to create together. Such a beautiful gift. And they all have an expiration date. We all do.
Right.
So let's live in the moments that we have and be gracious for the ones we've got. That's the ultimate.